What you're looking at here is the following year. I started by improving the size of the hobbit hole. I went up 5 logs. I could get in and out a lot easier. This is the part that's difficult for people with cabins, the chinking. I had a lot of years to think about it, so what I came up with was aluminum lath work for the big gaps, combined with the great stuff, and then smoothed out and then coated with concrete. Even if it's crappy out, you got to go to a different type of job. This is me with a machete cutting off the extra foam. There's always something to do. This is the north wall. You can see the amount of foam, and then this coming year I'll cut all that off. That's the last wall to finish. Again, these are cool critters on the island. These are actual photos taken of a lynx. I've seen 9 different lynx up there. Just really cool. Again, this is the coating of the ends of the logs so they don't suck moisture in during the rainy and cold winters. To give you an idea of how tough this stuff will ultimately be, that's a razor sharp machete. I sharpen it 2-3 times an hour when I'm doing this, and to get it away from the wood with nothing on top of it is hard. So you can imagine what it's like between the logs with a 500-pound log every time sitting on top, or whatever it is, 300, 400, 500 pounds sitting on top. Good example of what I did with the chinking for any bigger gaps. It's aluminum mesh between the gaps, and then that bolt you see, there's a bolt every 6 foot from every corner that I drive down. It's a 3/8 inch rod to hold the logs in place when you make openings, and in general for stability and strength. So that's just another part of my building code for the Barbarian shelter. And as you can see, when I'm done with this, that will be probably between 2.5 and 3 inches of single cell foam with a supporting structure in the middle. So good luck with the varmints getting through. And then this will actually expand. I got to get off the ladder now. This is the last wall that we're going to, we just finished the 3rd step of chinking. So again, it's aluminum lath inside. Then it's saturated with the great stuff once. That makes a big beam, a big bead. It goes out, but then you go back after that dries and you put a bead on the top and a bead in the bottom. Let that dry. Next time we'll cut it with the machetes and then grind it, and then use a cement paint like you would use on your foundation. So you got foam covered with cement, paint, so that you get rid of the bugs and really insulate the Jesus out of it. So we're doing the fun part of chinking, because chinking sucks. Most people hate chinking more than they hate building the log cabins. But we've got the wall done. I'm going to remove the tape while the mortar is still wet, and that way we should get a nice line. Hope if I'm right. It's like a big art project. So. All right, so far so good. It's coming off because it isn't, the concrete has not dried yet, so that's cool. It's a nice line. So far so good. That's definitely good. All right, it worked. Okay, what we're looking at here is actually the cement that's specially made to adhere to foam, and I used frog tape to put down on every run, so that when I'm done with the concrete work, I peel that back and you got a nice line and you don't have to clean the concrete off of the logs. This is what it looks like in the beginning, and this is what it looks like in the end. And then again, I'll seal that. Every time we seal everything that we do. And this is like the end of the season. Every season you get a coat of stain or sealer. And this is when the gables are up and the chinking in the front is done. It's the 20th of August. It's my last trip for the year. They're giving me chemotherapy, and this is my chemotherapy for me. I'm on the east side of the island. These are going to be used for the roof to hold it up. I need 4 more. That's what I'm going to try and peel today. I've already dropped them. I got to carve out a area in the forest so I can get at them and peel them. It's the wrong time of the year to peel them. They don't want to be peeled. It's more like chipping the bark off. So it's probably going to take the better part of a day. And to give you an idea where we're at, it's half a mile to the cabin site, quarter mile to the boat. Okay, these are the pieces that I used for the gable. They had to be flattened on both sides. You get a better idea of how they look here. They're all supported. There's rods going through them to keep them in place. These are actually extra purloins for the roof. These were better choices, better shapes. They still have to be hauled around the island. This is some of them when they were done. The wolves up there are everywhere. Literally, you see them. This is the ridgepole in shape, and I had a lot of time to think about how I would do this. And I did it old school Egyptian style by putting ropes over a fake ridgepole, jumping off of a ladder, pulling them up 1 notch until I got to the top, and then used a ladder to get up there and actually hump it onto the last little log. It's my last day in September. I believe it's September 14th. I'm balancing on the top of the logs, and this is the surrounding view from the cabin. That's the top of the cabin. Try and get my balance here. And this is how far we are. These are the walls going up that way. Ridgepole. All the inside walls are done. And this is your view. This is a better shot. Shows that the gables are up. The ridgepole's in position. The other tiny poles are just to hold the roof end to end during the winter while I'm gone. The one going right to left, there's 2 supports that I added. That'll help me later on keep the roof supported as well. This is my little shelter that I've used to protect the tools that are directly in front of the cabin, and I sit under there during horrendous thunderstorms and snowstorms. This is what I came back to. Every time, you never know what's going to happen. 3 trees went down in a tiny tornado that flew through and totally destroyed my shelter. Sent a log across the cabin, a full-size 70-foot tree. I had to cut that out. And I started thinking, well, what do my trails look like? And I stopped counting at 28 major trees directly across my trail. That took a couple of days. Gail has helped me on the trails. This is a shot on one of her visits. Trip 25, last one of the season. Everything's buttoned up, wrapped up, taped up, coated. Got 3 coats on each gable. What you're seeing here are supports for the winter. The supports, I don't know if you can see that one, for the ridgepole, which is up. So everything's coated, everything's stuccoed, sealed 3 times. I'm going to tar the perimeter that's open so it can drain during the winter. These are all coated and braced up, so it should last the winter, and then I can put put the roof on next spring. 216 kind of threw me a curveball, but I think I've dealt with it pretty good. Got a lot of chinking done. Gail made one trip up earlier too. Got the ends of the logs capped, got the corners cemented and chinked. Inside, all the walls are done, and now I've got a workbench that I made out of the fallen jack pine that I had kept. Never knew what I was going to do with it, but I do now. That'll come in real handy in the spring. All right, that's it for 2016, and I'll be back in the spring.